Hello everyone, this is Eerie Knight of the Pseudo Posse, with Nightingale just recently realm walking into the crowded marketplace of the survival crafting genre. I of course tried it out, and well, I'm not going to cover the myriad of issues the game has, as that has already been repeatedly done in several YouTube Nightingale reviews. Instead, we're going to focus on the building aspect, as that is our interest here, and I thought the perfect way to illustrate my thoughts would be to compare it to the building system in Enshrouded, which, spoiler alert, I absolutely love. Is the building in Enshrouded perfect? No. Does building in Nightingale have any positives? Yes, it does. I'll pick apart each game comparatively and let you all decide which building mechanics you enjoy best. And for those that don't own either game, or just one of the two, you can get a better idea of which game is more your speed so you don't waste your valuable time and money. Towards the end of the video, I'll also give some thoughts for things I'd like to see in the future for both games. So let's get into it. Fundamentally, both games are quite different in how they approach building. In Nightingale, you build using a blueprint system, which many survival crafting games implement like the Forest. Similar to that game, you lay down a blueprint whether it is a prefabricated structure, workstation, or a light. The ghost structure remains transparent until you fill in all the required resources, at which point it is finished becoming solid. Fortunately, it will autofill the entire structure you have built, so you don't need to walk up to each individual piece to fill in your resources. Enshrouded, on the other hand, uses a voxel building system, which of course was popularized by Minecraft and used in other games like 7 Days to Die. No blueprints here. You place blocks individually in a grid-like system, or you can use prefab shapes to place multiple blocks simultaneously within this grid system, as in building a wall, a floor, or a roof. The game provides you with common shapes that will be utilized in virtually any build. Once placed, there's nothing to fill in as with the ghost structure, since the resources were used in the creation of the blocks themselves. Of course, the advantage of a voxel building game is that it allows for fine granularity and detail, so someone who loves to build can be extremely creative in this system. With the blueprint system, building is more simplified, allowing you to simply plop down a prefabricated structures to quickly construct a building. Definitely better for the casual builder who is looking to quickly plop down a shelter and move on. Let's now pivot to the progression and how you gain access to new shapes and materials in the case of Nightingale, and block materials in Enshrouded. In Nightingale, shape and material are intrinsically linked, as each shape has a specified material. At the start of the game, you have access to crude materials of wood and stone, each with its own set of shapes. To unlock more, you'll need to visit essence traders to purchase new building blueprints via essence you've gathered either by scrapping something in your inventory, or by doing various quests and challenges across the realms. Think of it as a currency, and you are essentially buying new blueprints. Each time you go to more difficult realms, new blueprints will be available for purchase. As such, you'll gain access to different shape and material combinations, with the material improving in quality and visual aesthetics. Meanwhile, in Enshrouded, you can select any material for any given block shape. They are not tied together. New block materials are unlocked by placing the appropriate resource in your inventory, as in metal sheets unlocking metal blocks, or fired bricks unlocking fired brick blocks. They can also be unlocked by locating specific chests across the map that contain a unique building material unavailable from the previous method of unlock. Once you've gathered all your materials in either game, it's time to build something. Let's start with Nightingale. In your Respite realm, which is basically your homeworld, you can build anywhere and everywhere. However, you are limited to how much you can build. There is a structure limit, which is viewable when placing blueprint prefabs. When you're ready to settle down, navigate within your menu under Guidebook and Building. You'll see all the blueprints you've currently unlocked. Select the foundation and click on Place to begin. Once active, you are free to rotate it in whatever orientation you desire, but after placing your first shape, any subsequent blueprint connected to it will be automatically snapped to that shape or other adjacent shapes. In effect, your first blueprint dictates your orientation of your building with respect to the game world. You cannot freely rotate another blueprint at an off angle and attach it to your existing structure. Blueprints must have structural stability. You cannot build an upper floor without first having a wall supporting it. When building walls on a second floor, it needs support underneath, which would require placing a wall underneath that spot, or by placing a pillar support, which is an unlockable blueprint from the essence trader. Another restriction you have is that blueprints must be placed in a predetermined layout. What I mean by that is foundations must be placed on the ground or directly to an existing floor. Floors cannot be placed directly on the ground and must be attached to the top of a wall. no floors at mid-height within a wall, and roofs must be attached to a wall and cannot be placed on the ground. Basically, there are rules restricting how you attach the various structures together. How about when you are ready to change your blueprint? You'll have to go back into your menu under Guidebook and Building tab and select a new blueprint and select Place. It is a bit cumbersome to go through this process each time you want to pick a new shape, so hopefully that becomes more streamlined later in alpha development. In Enshrouded, you access building mode by pressing tab on your hammer tool, which gives you access to all the building shapes. Do note you are only allowed to build within your altar region. You can have up to 8 altars in the game world, which can be placed in most places within the world, and they can each be leveled up to increase the size they span. A level 1 altar covers a 40 by 40 meter region. With each level upgrade, the region increases by 40 each time up to level 4. While 40 meters sounds small, keep in mind 1 block is half a meter, so 2 blocks equals 1 meter, which would allow you to place 80 blocks end to end within a level 1 altar region. Within that altar region, you have no constraints as to the number of blocks you can build. Unlike Nightingale, you are not capped as to how much you can build as long as it fits within the altar perimeter. The building materials you have available, located on the right side of the screen, are dependent on what blocks you have in your inventory. Once you select a block shape, simply left-click it into place, and that's it. Since it is a voxel game, you are limited to the grid, so you cannot rotate voxels. For larger prefabricated shapes like walls, there is a toggleable snapping feature, so you can choose whether to snap an existing structure or to move it however you like. When overlapping an existing block, you will only use the materials required to place it, minus the voxels already filled within an existing block voxel. You are not restricted in how you place the prefab shapes. Walls, floors, roofs can be positioned anywhere, however you like, and can be used in unconventional ways like using roofing blocks to make a railing. You are also unrestricted and unbounded by any sort of real-world physics. There is no structural stability, like Minecraft, and blocks can be floating in the air without any discernible structural support. To change between the shapes, you can simply hold the Alt key and scroll to a different category, and once chosen, mouse scroll to the shapes within that category. Pressing Control and using the mouse wheel will allow you to select a material for any given shape. The materials available are dependent on what you have within your inventory. Whoopsies, just made a mistake and now I want to cancel or undo that action. In Nightingale, you cannot cancel a blueprint. You're forced to finish building it, allocating your resources, and subsequently remove it by entering build mode by pressing X and holding on V to delete it for a fraction of the resources returned. Whereas in Enshrouded, you can undo your last 5 actions by pressing Y or by right-clicking to remove a single block shape or entire prefab shapes if you had previously placed one. Either way, the full amount of resources are returned to you. Now, I did just briefly mention a build mode in Nightingale, which is enabled by pressing X, but you may be confused at this juncture as to why you cannot place your blueprints from this mode. I certainly was while playing, but essentially, build mode doesn't let you access the shape UI. Rather, it gives you some additional options to manipulate what you've already placed. We already covered the remove function, but you can also move previously placed items one at a time, which is a bit annoying if you need to move multiple objects over a large distance. And the last bit of functionality is the ability to copy a shape or even a piece of furniture. Unfortunately, once you place your copied blueprint, it ends that action and you cannot continuously place additional blueprints of that type as you would if you went into the main menu and selected place. It's a great idea, but if the devs fix that one issue, it'll considerably streamline the building process. In Enshrouded, you can pick up furniture you previously placed and put them in your inventory to carry them all at once, the only limit being room in your backpack. Enshrouded does not have a copy block feature, though that would be amazing if they were to add it to the game, as it would save a bit of time switching between different shapes. After getting some hands-on time with both games, it is clear to me that Enshrouded currently has the more engaging, flexible, streamlined building mechanics. However, as good as it is, there are definitely some faults and improvements I would like to see. First, faults. It can sometimes be a bit wonky to place roofing shapes. Aligning the roof can be tricky, quite tricky. It is actually the most difficult part of the building system in Enshrouded, I feel. Sometimes removing blocks can also be an exercise in patience, as the remove option doesn't always immediately show up. When placing individual roofing blocks, it can also be very difficult to see what you're doing, as shingles or a decorative element will block your view of the blocks you already have placed and obstruct your vision of where to place the next one. As for improvements, number 1, as I have previously mentioned, I'd like to see a copy shape ability to quickly copy shapes you've previously used. Another feature I think would be pretty cool would be the ability to save a custom prefab shape. If, for example, you frequently build your own type of column that you'd like to duplicate and build elsewhere, it would be extremely cool if you could save that shape and then place it from the shape menu anywhere else. That would definitely be a huge utility. Now, Nightingale, where to begin? I could gripe and nitpick over several of the faults I already covered, but I think the number one thing that needs to be fixed as soon as possible is the horrendous building UI experience. Nightingale has a general UI problem in my opinion, but when it comes to building, you have to re-enter the build menu every time you want to switch to a new shape. I'd like to be able to switch between shapes as easily as I can in Enshrouded. And the close second thing I want to change is the ability to cancel a blueprint. If you misplace one, you have to devote time and resources to build something you don't want, only for you to have to remove it for the fraction of the resources returned. Those two things would immediately improve the experience a ton. Because both games are fundamentally different in how they approach building, people will naturally prefer one system over the other. For me, I like the creative control and fine-tuned detailing available in Enshrouded via the voxel building mechanics. However, when the Nightingale UI was not driving me insane, I did have moments where I was enjoying laying out all my blueprints and seeing it come to life as I auto-filled in resources. The final build is a bit too boxy for my tastes, so my one main hope for Nightingale is for it to be a bit more flexible with how you can position and orient blueprints to allow for more creative building. There's nothing I dislike more than a flat, boxy looking design. I do have high hopes for Nightingale and I'll continue to keep an eye on it. That's pretty much my final verdict, though feel free to disagree. I can definitely see the allure of Nightingale's build mechanics once they fix the major issues I already mentioned. Anyways, I have occupied enough of your time. If you enjoyed the video, please smash the like button and subscribe if you like our brand of content and want to see more of it. Also, I'd like to extend a special shout out to our amazing Patreon community, whose generosity allows us to invest back into our channel to make it better for you all. Taco and I are incredibly thankful and humbled by your kindness. On that note, this is Eerie Knight signing off. See you all in the next one.